Our tale kicks off with Renji, a 30-year-old shut-in whose world is nothing more than a cramped, gloomy room he never dares to leave. Ever since he was a kid, his classmates treated him like trash, merciless bullying, endless cruelty. The scars of those years chained his heart, trapping him in depression so deep that his only escape was endless gaming marathons. But fate doesn't stay quiet forever. One day, as Renji tapped away on his phone, a blinding light exploded from the screen, so intense it forced his eyes shut. And when he dared open them again, his whole reality had shifted. Before him stood not his dark, suffocating walls, but a new world, dazzling and strange. And in its heart, a stunning girl descended like a goddess of another realm. Her voice rang out like destiny itself. But before we get into the video, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from right now? And hey, don't forget to drop a like, it really helps out the channel. Congratulations! You've been chosen to start over. A brand new life in another world. Renji's heart trembled. In that moment he knew, the old him had died. But the gods, in their strange mercy, had handed him a second chance. With tears he couldn't hold back, Renji confessed the truth. That his old life had been unbearable, wasted, locked away, nothing but shadows and regret. All he wanted now was safety. The girl's eyes softened, and she whispered like a promise written in the stars, "Do not worry. Everything you lost, I will return to you." The girl's voice echoed like divine music. "This world runs on magic, and I shall gift you power beyond measure. All you need to do is live, enjoy this life, nothing more." And with that vow, Renji's soul was torn from the void and thrust into a new beginning. When his vision cleared, he realized he wasn't himself anymore. He was reborn, cradled in the tiny body of a newborn child. But not just any child, the crown prince of a great kingdom, son of a mighty king and queen, who rejoiced as if the heavens themselves had blessed them. Renji, now a baby, was breathtaking from the start, sharp features, an aura of promise. The king, swelling with pride, summoned the royal seer to gauge his son's hidden magical potential. In his heart, the king was certain, surely my heir will be no weaker than level 40. He will become a legend. Yet, destiny played a cruel trick. The reading revealed the boy's magic. Level 2. Level 2. The throne room froze. Renji's heart screamed in silence. Hadn't that mysterious girl sworn to grant him overwhelming strength? Was this betrayal? The king and queen's joy shattered. Their pride twisted into fear and shame. "A prince this weak will disgrace our bloodline. The people will laugh at us, mock the royal name. This cannot stand." And so, in cold resolve, they chose the unthinkable. Without pity, without hesitation, they decreed the child would be abandoned deep within the forest, his existence erased, his death declared. At that very moment, far beyond mortal sight, the mysterious girl who had granted Renji his second chance was watching, and there, her eyes widened in horror. She had made a grave mistake. Renji had not been born with a frail magic of level 2 as the crystal had declared. No, his strength was far beyond comprehension. His true power was not 2, but 1002, the mightiest force this world had ever known. Yet the seer's crystal, unable to perceive the vastness of such energy, revealed only the smallest fragment. The truth was hidden, shrouded in secrecy, while the king and queen believed their son to be nothing but weak and worthless. Thus, the king's cruel command was carried out. Renji, the newborn prince, was cast away into the cold depths of the forest, abandoned as though his very existence were a curse. To the world, he was dead, a discarded life on the day he was born. Though left to perish, Renji's heart began to stir. Even as an infant, his spirit reached for the immense magic sleeping within him. From the depths of his power, he formed a construct, a shining cube of force known as the barrier. In this world, such cubes were said to be the foundation of all creation, tools of limitless potential. Renji, though only a newborn in body, shaped them with ease. He even molded one into the form of a bird and soared through the forest skies upon its wings. But destiny would not leave him in peace. Within the shadows of the forest, a wolf emerged, its eyes burning with hunger. Without hesitation, it lunged to devour him. Renji panicked, crafting cube after cube, hurling them at the beast in desperate defense. Yet the wolf was unfazed. The blows glanced off, and still it pressed forward, intent on tearing him apart. Cornered, Renji's mind sparked with a bolder thought. He wove his barriers together, lifting an entire tree from the forest floor and casting it down upon the monster. The strike landed, but only left a shallow wound. The wolf snarled. Renji, refusing to yield, conjured a single colossal cube. With it, he ripped a vast portion of earth from the ground itself and brought it crashing down to crush his foe. In that instant, the wolf froze. Terror seized its heart. It cried out, "Stop! I surrender!" Renji blinked in disbelief. The voice was that of a girl. Only then did he realize the wolf itself was speaking. She lowered her head, her voice tinged with shame. She confessed she had tried to devour him after sensing the boundless magic within his body, desiring to claim it for herself. But Renji, still trapped in the body of an infant, could not yet speak. Summoning his ingenuity, he forged a cube and merged it with his own vocal cords, forcing words into existence. When his voice reached her ears, the wolf's eyes widened in fear and awe. She was certain before her stood not a mere child, but a being of terrifying power, one who could rival the ancient Dark Kings, masters of sorcery without limit. At once, the wolf bowed her head, her voice trembling with urgency. She begged Renji to accept her as his master, vowing to serve him with unshakable loyalty. Renji, at first, believed she was mocking him, but the fire in her eyes told another story. She was deadly serious. She pressed him further, demanding that he bestow upon her a name worthy of her new bond. After a moment's thought, Renji spoke, and the name he gave her was Lyra. The pact sealed, a sudden weakness gripped him. His small body, still bound by the limits of infancy, could not contain such strain. He nearly collapsed, for despite his magic, he remained a newborn who required sustenance to survive. Seeing this, Lyra's form shifted, her fur dissolving into radiant light. Before Renji now stood a young woman of breathtaking beauty, her aura sharp and untamed, yet tempered with devotion. She resolved that her very first duty as his servant would be to provide him food. Yet, just as she prepared to set out into the forest, her ears caught it, footsteps drawing near. At Renji's command, Lyra went forth to investigate, while he remained hidden, watching everything unfold through the vision of his magical cubes. Soon she came upon the intruder, a formidable warrior, his presence heavy with power. Stepping into his path, Lyra demanded, "Who are you, stranger? And why do you seek Renji? Know this, I will never allow you to lay a hand upon him." The warrior's reply was steady. His eyes filled not with malice, but with resolve. "I am Darius, kin to the king. When word reached me of what he had done to his own son, I could not stand by. This child bears no sin worthy of death. I have come to save him, to raise him as my own blood, and to protect him." Lyra's heart quivered at his words. For the first time since her bond with Renji, tears welled in her eyes and fell freely. She agreed to entrust Renji into Darius's care, on one condition, that she too would remain by his side, guarding him always. Darius, without hesitation, accepted her vow. From that day forward, Renji lived as part of his new family. 9 years passed in quiet grace. 9 years of warmth, peace, and a life untouched by cruelty. It was in this time that Renji gained a younger sister, Serafina, a girl he cherished with all his heart. As for Lyra, she remained within their home, taking on the role of maid and guardian. She devoted herself to the family, her presence a constant comfort. Yet despite the passing of years, Renji's bond with Serafina remained distant. She avoided speaking with him, never played near him, and always kept herself withdrawn. Unlike Lyra, who spent much of her time close to her, Serafina remained apart. This weighed heavily upon Renji's heart. He puzzled over it endlessly, wondering what hidden reason drove her to hold herself away from him. One evening, his mother noticed his sorrow and gently explained the truth. Serafina, she said, could not bring herself to speak with boys. Shyness bound her, embarrassment sealed her voice, and so she kept her distance. It was not hatred, but her own struggle. Hearing this, Renji's resolve hardened. He longed to bridge the gap, to bring his sister closer to him, and then an idea came to him, a daring one. With his magic, he could forge another self, a reflection of his being. Through this second self, he could teach Serafina to speak, and perhaps, step by step, draw nearer to her heart. That very same day, Darius began instructing Renji in the way of the sword. He insisted that his son master the blade, believing Renji's magic to be feeble and that steel would be his only true defense. But the very first match shattered his assumptions. Even in his earliest swings, Renji moved with a strength and precision far beyond his years. His strikes carried a weight no child should possess, his footwork swift and sharp as though guided by instinct itself. Not even young warriors blessed with magical levels above 30 could match the skill Renji displayed so naturally. Darius's eyes narrowed. A chill settled over him as he realized something was amiss. This was no ordinary talent. That night, he sat with his wife and confessed his fears. Perhaps, he whispered, voice low and heavy, Renji is not merely a gifted child, but one of the Dark Kings reborn. His wife's face blanched at the thought. The words left them both restless, anxiety gnawing at their hearts. If Renji truly bore the soul of such a being, then what future awaited their family? And how should they act, should that suspicion prove true? What Darius and his wife did not realize was that Serafina had overheard their hushed words. Though she could not fully grasp their meaning, the fragments she caught weighed heavily on her young heart. Days passed quietly, with Renji doing little of note. Even his sword training was delayed, for Darius had grown too occupied to continue their lessons. One evening, Renji sat idly in his room, his mind adrift, when a sudden uproar echoed from outside. Too weary to rise at first, he opened his magical surveillance screens. What he saw chilled him. Soldiers lay sprawled upon the ground, battered and defeated, and at the center of their ruin sat his father Darius, bowed in despair. Alarm surged through Renji. He rushed outside to confront the chaos. There, amidst the broken ranks, Darius raised his weary eyes to his son and spoke with a heavy voice. For some time now, a string of raids and robberies has plagued this city, carried out by a ruthless gang. After long investigations, we uncovered their hideout. I gathered our soldiers, devised a plan, and struck at them, but someone betrayed us. The enemy was forewarned. When we stormed their base, it was empty. They turned the shadows against us, ambushing with brutal force, cutting us down. As you see before you, we have suffered greatly. Renji felt the weight of his father's sorrow pierce him, yet he stepped forward, calm and unwavering, speaking words of comfort. He promised Darius that this was not the end, that together they would endure and overcome. As Renji walked among the fallen soldiers, his heart ached at their suffering. Quietly, without drawing attention, he extended his magic. A subtle light flowed from his hands, weaving through their wounds. Before long, the men stirred, their injuries mended with impossible speed. Darius watched in disbelief, unable to grasp how such recovery was possible. Later that night, he sat in solitude, summoning his magical screens to scour the city. His eyes widened as the truth unfolded before him. The gang that had shattered his father's forces was celebrating, not in the shadows, but openly, side by side with the very guards sworn to protect the city. Betrayal. It was the guards themselves who had leaked Darius's plans.